All right, our crappy culture. So I'm sure that you've probably noticed the marches taking place today in your homes for gun control after the mass shooting that took place over the weekend. Oh, wait, there are none. And yet, and if you watch TV, unless you're watching Fox, which did play something about it today, they are not covering one of the worst mass shootings of 2018, of this year, right? I'm reading this from Jazz Shaw at Hot Air. In the pre-dawn hours yesterday, the nation experienced yet another mass shooting, 1 dead, 22 injured, including a 13-year-old boy. It took place at the crowded Art All Night Trenton Festival in New Jersey. A couple of cable news outlets mentioned the shooting in their coverage yesterday and this morning. The New York Times wrote a lengthy article but buried it on page A17. The Associated Press took a fairly deep dive on it, but you need to search around a bit on the website to find it. Obviously, what is the problem? There can only be two things, right? Either it was committed by a Muslim, which I think would make the news. They wouldn't be able to cover that up. It's because it was a black gang. Gunmen opened fire at an all-night arts and music festival early Sunday morning, sending people running over each other in the scramble to safety, authorities said. One suspect was killed, 22 people injured. It's a miracle more people weren't killed the way from the films that I watched. The gunplay, the bullets are flying everywhere around. This is being censored because of the narrative, right? It makes, I don't know what they're going to say. It makes black gangsters look bad because we know that gangsters have the spark of deity or whatever the hell Nancy Pelosi says they have. So they're just not going to report it. It's not a problem. If black people are being shot and wounded, it is not a problem that you need to take to the streets. It's only when they can get they can get at your Second Amendment rights, because all news stories are one story. Let's transform America into the rest of the world so it can be just as crappy as the rest of the world is. This censorship is being mirrored on YouTube when it comes to Islam. You know, there's so many voices of Islamic moderation that are attacking Islamism, and they are being censored on YouTube. Those voices, moderate Islamic voices, are being censored. Ayan Hirsi Ali, who's no longer a Muslim, but she is an anti-Islamist campaigner who was a Muslim, and she's a women's rights activist. She's being censored. Khurram Dara, a prominent American Muslim author, obviously PragerU, which is not a Muslim but has attacked radical Islam. By censoring these people, YouTube and the rest of our friends in Silicon Valley are essentially giving quarter to the worst of Islamic culture. They are giving quarter to those Islamic people who feel that this is got to violently take over the world, that it's got to be a violent attack on America and on the West, that in order to worship Allah, they've got to kill people, they've got to destroy any culture that doesn't support them. Those voices are the only voices left if you silence the other. So in other words, the left is doing what it always does. It's getting the opposite results of what it is supposed to want by silencing the voices that say, hey, there is a problem in black culture, in black neighborhoods, by silencing the voices that say there's a problem in Islamic culture. They're giving a free rein to the worst people in those cultures, the worst people in those neighborhoods. And the reason is they won't abandon the narrative. The minority communities and the Islamic community are abandoned by the left because otherwise they would have to change their narrative that all evil is due to white oppression instead of arising out of philosophies that are native to the culture, philosophies that are native to Islamic culture, that are destroying their culture and attacking ours, philosophies and practices and ideas that are prevalent in poor black neighborhoods that have been supported by liberal democratic policies. They've been supported by those policies, but they are endemic to those cultures and those neighborhoods. And they don't want to change that narrative. They would rather that black people get shot. They would rather Islamics blow things up, including themselves, than change their minds and change their narrative. I got to say goodbye. But that's it. We will be back tomorrow with more stuff. Until then, I'm Andrew Klavan. This is The Andrew Klavan Show, and we will see you tomorrow. The Andrew Klavan Show is produced by Robert Sterling. Executive producer, Jeremy Boring. Senior producer, Jonathan Hay. Our supervising producer is Mathis Glover. And our technical producer is Austin Stevens. edited by Emily Jai. Audio is mixed by Mike Cormina. Hair and makeup is by Jesua Alvera. The Andrew Klavan Show is a Daily Wire Forward Publishing production. Copyright Forward Publishing 2018.